So yeah, well, I think maybe we should start and then people may join as we go on. Okay, so we are here today. We are joined by Laura Viilep, who is our speaker for today's next topic. She is a head of global events at Mindvalley, and today she will speak about her experience organizing transformational experiences in 20 countries. So, hi, Laura. We are very happy to have you today. And personally, I cannot wait to see your presentation. I'm very excited about it.
Thank you for the beautiful introduction, and I feel very honored to be speaking on this virtual stage today. Thank you for having me. And yes, today I'm planning to share some of my lessons from the many, many lessons I've had organizing events around the world for, I think, more than 17 years now, and working more than a decade at Mindvalley. Speaking of Mindvalley, how many of you have actually heard of Mindvalley before? Can you just share in the chat? Okay.
Or you can simply raise your hand with the raise hand button.
Okay, let me just share quickly what Mindvalley is about. So Mindvalley is the world's largest personal growth platform, and we are on a mission to share education that the traditional education system has overlooked. So on our platforms, people can learn how to become better parents, how to take better care of their health, and start a mindfulness journey. We have more than 20 million global learners around the world from 100 plus different countries, and we're on a mission to positively impact more than 1 billion people. And actually, our main product is life transformation. So we have multiple programs online, we do events, but the core essence of the Mindvalley product is transformation. So people join our programs, they join our events, they join our community to make really good improvements in their life, whether it's building healthy habits or maybe finding deeper meaning or finding new business partners. People have even found love and their future spouses at their events. And yes, we do events all around the world. And kind of like the key essence of what we do is community connections and combining it with learnings in a fun way. We have multiple different types of events. Our craziest and the most difficult one to organize is Mindvalley University. It's a 3-week long summer camp for all age groups. So we have kids, teenagers, parents joining us for 3 weeks in Tallinn. And they are all going through a really fun and cool learning experience, plus a lot of community activities and bonding. We also organize Mindvalley Summits. So these are 2 or 3 day events, mostly hybrid. The last one we had was in Miami with 1,000 people in the audience and almost 10,000 virtually. So these are more like product launch events where we introduce a new program to the Mindvalley customers. We also do more luxurious premium events. A-Fest is one of the examples. That's actually our longest event. Started back in 2010. And this is a premium 4-day experience for entrepreneurs and change makers taking place in exotic locations around the world. Our previous event took place in Cartagena in Colombia. And then the one before was in Jordan by the Dead Sea. And we also organize smaller retreats, seminars. So the variety is very large. Most of our events are B2C. So the attendees, they purchase tickets to the event on their own. And the companies sometimes send their employees to events, but mostly it's B2C. And today, I want to share about my key lessons, and I have divided it into three key areas, and I think they're all equally important for making good transformational events happen. So experience, logistics, and mindset. And I really believe that events are an incredible tool for creating a community, for creating revenue, and also increasing brand awareness. So let's dig deeper. From experience side, I have here a really good quote from Seth Godin that people don't buy goods and services, they buy relations, stories, and magic. So when it comes to experiences, then one of my key lessons is knowing your audience. I think for every product, every brand, this is very, very important. Like, why would they come to your event? What is the one thing that they're looking for? What unites them? And for us at Mindvalley, this common feature is growth, transformation, learning. So the people who come to our events, they're like eager to improve their lives. They're eager to connect with other like-minded people. So that's the glue that brings everyone and everything together. So that's one of our key things for sure. And then also continuing on the same topic on the audience, we have also noticed that the more we give the audience the spotlight, the better ratings, the better feedback we get from about the event. And it's been very interesting, like over the years, to read the feedback surveys. And however, we always try to include a lot of community activities, networking, a lot of group facilitations where people can get to meet each other. But even then, if we do that a lot, we always get feedback that they would want even more. So, and when people leave the event, they usually say that the highlight was the other people, not the speakers, not the amazing parties that we put together. And even though the speakers are amazing and the parties are really good, but what people really, really remember is the quality of the connections they made. And also here at summer events, we really put more focus on it. So we sometimes even create like separate agendas just for the community at Mind University. Almost half of the agenda is actually community-led. So when people purchase a ticket to the event, they can also apply to become a speaker and lead a workshop and a session. And interestingly, those small workshops are sometimes even better and stronger than some of the highlight keynote speakers on the main stage, because the keynote speakers often, they repeat their content. So you can hear what they have already said on YouTube or on a podcast, but then you can stumble upon this like really cool, intimate workshop with a tribe speaker that's led by a professional in their field, and that might be even more valuable than the big headline speaker on the main stage. So that has been also an interesting lesson for us. And on a similar note, we have also received a lot of feedback how people really enjoy the experiences, workshops, embodiment sessions. So we always try to find a good balance between experiences and talks, so to say, to avoid those talks where the speaker is just on the stage giving content but not interacting with the audience. And this is something that you can also watch on YouTube. So when they do come to an event, they want to experience something, they want to discuss it with the person who's sitting next to them, and they really want to kind of like get their hands on it. A lot of the events that we do are destination events. So we rarely keep the event in the same destination for a longer time. But even if it is a destination event or not, we always try to inject the local culture and add some like surprise and fun elements, introducing the local food, the traditions, maybe even bringing in some local holidays to celebrate as a group. And just a fun tip here that we at Mindvalley love organizing costume parties. And our group they're like very fun loving. So they are like easy to be excited about those things. And I've also noticed that having a costume party is also a really good, like a budget-friendly option, because people will already come dressed up as a decor. So you need to spend less on the entertainment, and it also helps them to kind of like step into a different avatar and just like feel different and more excited about the night. And speaking of magic, so this is a cool photo of a dinner we did in Colombia last year, and we created this magical door for the entrance. Our events, our events are not that corporate, so we have more like the agenda is sometimes more like free flowing. It's more flexible, and we also do it on purpose. We have noticed that it's good to leave some buffer for some spontaneous magical things that would happen during the event that we wouldn't know how to pre-plan. An example from an event last year in Tallinn during Mindvalley University, we had an opening party, and because the event also includes kids, they had a separate room and a separate stage where they did a talent show. And we saw how one of the girls was so talented in gymnastics and she had such a beautiful routine. And then we brought her to perform on the big stage during the party. And it was such a beautiful moment for everyone because it was like the kids and the adults, everything coming together. And that was something that we didn't plan. So I have like hundreds of examples like that. And sometimes there's like someone at the event who just brings something extra, and we want to put that person on the stage, or we want to do an exercise. So I would plan the agenda around like 80% and then leave 20% as a buffer and see kind of like what happens during the event that we want to highlight on the main stage. And of course, embracing cultural differences. I've organized events all around the world, and yet I'm still surprised about some of the big differences that come with working with different cultures. And as I mentioned, we organized one of the events in Colombia last year, and for me it was the first time doing an event in South America. I had organized events in Spanish-speaking countries before, but that was the first one in that region. And for me, planning destination events in countries that are far from where I'm from is kind of like starting a long distance relationship. So I had my eyes on Cartagena already many, many years ago. And then we were kind of like flirting. I was keeping my eye on the new resorts opening. I was attending IPTMs and all the big trade shows, and always like interacting with the tourism board and seeing, like how the destination is evolving. And when I went on a site inspection, that was kind of like the first date. So you see if you click or not. And I definitely fell in love with Cartagena, such a beautiful, rich, vibrant destination. And then we started a long-term relationship, because then we only met many months later when the event actually took place. And I must admit there were many challenges, because I'm from Estonia, and the many people on my team, they're also from Estonia. So we come from the Nordics. We are very punctual, organized, everything is online, and we have very cold weather as well. And then suddenly we were in a relationship, so to say, with with Colombians who are very laid back, not that punctual, very like chilled, taking it easy, and far from being organized and online. So sometimes it would take 3 weeks for us to hear back on an email, or 4 weeks. So it was definitely a challenge. But both of the sides actually learned during this relationship, because they learned how to work with international clients, especially from Europe. And we also learned how to be a bit more chill, because, like there are things that we can change, and some of the things that we just need to be okay with. And
How did you manage to fall in love at the end?
yeah, it did work out. It was okay at the end. And like, speaking of working with different cultures, I actually do enjoy the dance between like different workflows and
Yeah.
cultures, and it all coming together eventually. But I would advise to do your research to see what's the usual working culture there, and also to set expectations early on, to kind of like do say that we expect to hear back on these matters, let's say like within a few days, or things like that, just to make sure that the expectations are set. And from the financial and logistical perspective, it's always good to keep the event in the same destination, because then you can scale, you can grow, you can work with long-term partners. But there's just like something more exciting about changing destinations. It's more risky, but it's often more rewarding as well, both for the attendees and the organizers. And now, speaking about destinations, I would love to move to logistics. And here I have a quote from one of my favorite writers: "A goal without a plan is just a wish." And I think all event planners can really resonate with that. So we need to get our we need to have our organization together to make big things happen. And one of the biggest parts of logistics and also the experience is obviously the venue, because this is really important where the transformation and magic will take place. And it's usually quite difficult to choose this destinations and venues, and there's always something you need to give and take. So in my experience, I haven't seen a venue that like checks all the boxes. So you always need to work with what you have and then get creative with the other parts. On the next slide, I have this this saying that always have a plan B or don't. And here I would love to share a quick story about the event we did in Bali some years ago. So we were planning for a fabulous closing party, a costume party, and it was an outdoor location, a beautiful temple. And we were advised by the DMC that we should definitely hire a local shaman to do a rain stopper ceremony for us. And can you imagine how the finance team was looking through the line items and they saw like a rain stopper ceremony by a local shaman in the budget line, but we were afraid to cancel it because we also didn't want the rain gods to be mad at us. And as you can imagine, it was pouring rain, cats and dogs at the night of the party. So we got to the venue and it started raining. We didn't have cover for all the 300 people. So, and we were on grass, the floor got muddy. So for the first 30 minutes, we were kind of panicking, and we also like weren't able to communicate to each other very properly because we were like hiding under the covers wherever we could. And then around 30 minutes in, some of the attendees went and started dancing in the rain. And then more and more people joined them. And eventually it turned out one of the most memorable parties because people were just like, you know, going with the flow. It wasn't cold. No one was getting sick. It was just like, okay, we're here. Let's embrace this weather, how it is. And then eventually it stopped raining. But until today, I have people coming to me and saying that, like, Laura, this was one of the best memories they have from an event. And we didn't plan it. We had like a different flow for the event, but it turned out the way it did. And because the group that we have, usually they are like very kind of like easy to work with, they are adventurous, then they went with the flow. So that's also learning that there are things we can control, there are many things we can't, and then you just need to go with the flow and trust that this group and the energy will hold it together. When it comes to logistics and planning, I would also advise to build long-term partnerships. Even though we change venues for the events often, we try to build long-term partnerships. We have like audiovisual vendors that have worked with us during multiple events. We even have photographers who come to our events around the world because they know what kind of photography we need. And in the long run, it has really, really helped us. And also it helps to get better deals for sure. And the final one on the logistics note is embracing the technology. There has been so many new developments recently, and I must admit that at first I was a bit hesitant, you know, like, okay, what can we, you know, like, how is this AI thing going to help us? And, you know, like maybe it will make things more complicated. But by now I have used ChatGPT to do like initial research about the venues, to update the titles for the sessions, to create emails. We have also used the Midjourney to create some visuals for the events. So there's a lot of cool platforms and tech out there that definitely is worth exploring, but obviously like not overdoing. And I think at the end of the day, us as event planners, we won't be replaced by AI because there's just like so much that we need to do and plan and organize, and we can get some help from AI, but obviously like we need to be on top of things. And now moving on to the mindset part, that's actually one of my favorite ones, and I think it's really important. It's really important for making really good events happen. And here I have a quote, that mindset is what separates the best from the rest, to illustrate that. Never say never. That has been one of my biggest learnings personally. I think it was back in 2009, I was the head of internal communications at a big bank here in the region, and I was in charge of all the events for the staff. And it was one of the first big events I did. We had a big conference during the day, and then a party for 1,500 people at night. And I think it went really well. You know, like I was pleased with the outcome and everything. And then a few days later, I went to the company's intranet, kind of like the internal website, and there was like a forum where people were just like sharing their thoughts and that, and there were so many complaints. People were complaining about food, about the music, about the program. And I remember I went home to my husband to be, and I said like, I will never ever organize any events again. Never ever, because you can't please everyone. Like people are always, you know, like annoyed at something and they don't like something. So I just had this really strong feeling. And here I am all those years later, like really, really enjoying it. So I think when it comes to event management, and never say never, there are always like some things that come up that you would have never thought that you would do again. And internally in our team, we also have a joke like, that we should never leave things to the last minute, but then eventually we end up doing everything on the last minute. So it's just like, you know, like never
Just a
say.
typical event planner, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
And speaking about teamwork, and yes, so I think it's really, really important to create a team that of people that really, really like organizing events. Teamwork is everything, and event management is not for everyone, for sure. So try to find people who really thrive doing it. And yeah, it's just like a type of work that really brings people together when you're traveling the world, when you're like going through thick and thin together, like solving all the last minute challenges. So, and I'm really grateful for the international and diverse team we have at Mindvalley. And actually, they say that event management is one of the most stressful jobs out there. And I think it really is. There are so many, we have those like peak times when we are super high on adrenaline and like giving our everything to everyone else. So I would just want to remind all event planners to not forget to take care of yourself as well. So find what fills your cup and don't give it all away, otherwise you will just burn out. And I've seen so many people burning out because you really want to give your everything, but you can't give everything if your battery is low. And the final lesson that I want to share, it's not like a lesson but just like a general thought here, that actually I was just looking at my photo archive today, that it's been almost 4 years since COVID hit. And I think over COVID we all learned how to innovate, and we realized how there are so many things we can't control, and we just need to embrace the change. And I've seen as an event planner that the people who like really adapt, innovate, and have this growth mindset and are like always flexible, they really stand out the most. So just a reminder to always innovate and keep on growing. And I think, yes, I have just a quick review of the, obviously there are like so many more learnings, but these are the things that I shared today. And I want to end with this quote: single event can awaken within a stranger totally unknown to us. And even though Antoine de Saint-Exupéry didn't write this thinking about event planning, I think this actually relates very, very well, because events are such a powerful tool for creating transformation. And I feel that us as event planners are really, really lucky to be part of that journey, and really like ignite this shift in perspective and bringing new learnings and ideas to attendees. Thank you so much. That was my presentation. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and I would love to see if there are any questions.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for sharing with us so inspiring aspects and events that you have organized throughout the years. It was really inspiring to see all these beautiful pictures and to hear the stories behind them. So yeah, if anyone has a question for this presentation. You can simply ask them in the chat bar. I see already one question, which is, can you share your email address, please? Okay,
Yes,
yeah, you
my
had it
email address is
shared in your.
it's very easy, laura@mindvalley.com. And tips on attracting newer generations. Yeah, that's an interesting one. We have seen that the average age for our events is like 35 to 40, because most of the people who kind of like are on that personal growth journey, they
Yeah.
already like like gotten to a certain point in their career where they can like invest time on that. But we do have more younger people joining as well. For us, Mindvalley University is the program where younger people come in, and we also do a lot of virtual events that they can join. Some of the events are rather expensive, so it's not that suitable
Mm.
for maybe like people who are just like starting out with their professional career. But overall, we can see that more and more young people are interested in mindfulness, their mental health and well-being. So I think it really depends on that topic. Question about the venues. I think it really depends on what you want as the venue. We usually try to avoid very like corporate looking venues. So we want to go with something that's more like vibrant, industrial, but sometimes we also do events at hotels and at the ballrooms. So it just like really depends what's
Depending on the
available and
events, yeah.
what kind of like curriculum and agenda we have in mind for that event. I often use Cvent for finding venues, and then we also work with agencies. But a lot of the when it comes to the booking the location, because this is the key part to our event, we usually work directly with the venue, and we don't use any like agencies in between. But it depends. That's how we usually.
Yeah, and also I guess it also depends on the location where you're organizing event, because in some locations, scouting a proper venue, I think it's more difficult. And maybe then you have to go for the regular hotel or regular conference hall venue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, it really depends on the nature of the event. But there are usually a lot of like different cool venues out there. But then you just need to see what kind of like what the venue has and what you need to compensate. Maybe there are some things that you just like can't make happen. For example, for Mindvalley University, we have three tracks in parallel for adults, plus the kids, the toddlers, the teenagers. So ideally, we would need a space that has like 7 to 8 big meeting rooms in the same building. It's nearly impossible to find it. We have one amazing venue here in Tallinn, and we have kept on using it because it just checks most of the boxes, but it's
Yeah.
not that we can just like find at an affordable rate like everywhere in the world. It's a very unique experience, and sometimes you also need to craft your experience based on what's available at the venue.
Yeah.
So just go with what you have.
Okay, we have one more question, which is, what are your best tips for reacting, sorry, during critical situations where things don't go according to plan, like in some of your stories?
Really good question. First of all, I think it's the mindset. I have found that people who are like really into event planning, like me, they actually get excited when something goes wrong. And
Oh,
I know
really?
it's so good to share it. And I've also seen like some people close to me reacting to it, like, "Oh, Laura, I can see you're like actually getting excited because something went wrong." And then I'm like, "Yes, because this is interesting. This is like I get to solve something. So this is how my brain works. If it's like
Yeah,
nothing goes wrong,
you
then
get bored.
yeah, it's too boring. That's why like we are so high on adrenaline all the time. So I think it's a matter of mindset, and also sometimes I just need to remind my team that at the end of the day we are not like heart surgeons saving
Yeah,
lives. Of course,
yeah,
we are making a big impact, and we are like impacting lives and making it better. But if something goes wrong, unless it's like a really tragic thing happening at the event, like someone getting injured or having to call an ambulance or taking someone to the hospital, then it's not the end of the world.
so I
And
guess
there are
maybe
many
stay
things.
focused. Yeah, stay focused and calm as much as possible. Yeah.
And many of the things that go wrong are also things that the attendees wouldn't even notice. Let's say you had something planned,
Yeah,
it didn't go as planned, and then you're like overreacting, oh my God, like now we need to change everything. But sometimes the attendees, they don't even notice because they didn't know that you had that
yeah.
plan. So that's also a good tip.
Okay, I don't think there are any other questions, but I got one actually,
Yeah.
which I think would be great for closing this. So I know it takes so many aspects to organize such events like you do, but if you have to pick just one key aspect for organizing a transformative event, what would that be? Is it maybe creating magic or the power of change or creating, I don't know, personalized experiences for the audience? What would that one key element would be?
I think it would still be finding ways how people could really connect
Mhm.
and and connect more on like a deeper level, so it wouldn't be just like small talk, but they
Yeah,
would really find other people with similar goals, similar interests, because I think this brings the biggest value, and this is also like what people they want when they come together. This is obviously for in-person events. For virtual
yeah.
events, it will be harder, but I would
Be more
definitely,
difficult. Yeah,
yeah. I think it's all about the people at the
it's
end of the
creating connection
day.
then.
Totally. Like what you're doing here with this event. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being part of it and for your wonderful presentation once again. So yeah, if there are no other questions, uh, thank you. And for the rest, in the meeting, we have two more live sessions for today. The next one starts in 25 minutes, and then in 1 hour and 25 minutes is the second one. So yeah, make sure to join us. And of course, don't forget to book your meetings during the event for today and tomorrow. So thank you once again, Lara. It
Yeah.
was wonderful having you. Have a nice night, and yeah, see you soon.